We grew up in the Midwest in various locations, but typically in small towns.
This part of the country is very special just because of the people. I mean, you go to a small corner store, you go to farms all over the place, you have businesses. I mean, it's just, I think, really represents every cross-section of America.
We learned the value of serving other people at a young age. My father ran a homeless shelter for many years, and we often would go there and volunteer. When Adam decided to join the military, we were very proud of that.
When I heard that the planes hit the World Trade Center as I was driving to work, at that moment I knew that America was never going to be the same again, but what I underestimated was that it would change my life. I really felt that I have to go serve and protect my country. In October of 2001, I decided to join the Air Force Air National Guard, and it's been an exciting job, and it's taken me to a lot of places overseas. I've been to Iraq 3 different times, Afghanistan twice, and South America as part of the war on drugs, and a lot of operations internal. Well, I just had come back from about a 2-week trip with the military, so I went out with my friend and my girlfriend, and we went out to downtown Milwaukee in an area that's referred to basically as North Avenue. There's a lot of upscale kind of pubs and bars there, so you get a cross-section of college kids coming out and then working professionals that come out for a nice dinner or a couple drinks in town, and just a really neat area with a lot of rich culture. Well, on the night of the attack, I was out with my friend Justin and my girlfriend Megan. We called it a night at about, I remember, 12:25 a.m. As we're walking home, we going down North Avenue towards my car, and then the incident occurred.
Surveillance video from a corporation right on the corner where the attack occurred showed the victim and the suspect walking westbound on the south side of North Avenue. The victim and the suspect were boyfriend and girlfriend. They had got into an argument in a bar. The suspect suffered from mental illness, schizophrenia to be specific. He hadn't taken his medication and wasn't in the right frame of mind. At some point during the argument, without provocation, the suspect reached in front of the victim and slashed her throat. The victim kind of blindly ran into the middle of the street with the attacker following her the entire way.
I remember hearing a commotion in the middle of the road. And I looked over and I saw a girl running at me. And I remember her saying something along the lines of, "He cut my throat," or "Help me, he cut my throat." And I noticed blood immediately. And I noticed that she was bleeding profusely from her neck. She was trying to hold it. The thing I remember is thinking that this was so unrealistically bloody that it couldn't be real. This has got to be some kind of a prank, like a Halloween scene. I really, really wanted to run away, but I knew I couldn't. And I remember a couple thoughts going through my head. The first thought was, I'm going to get stabbed, and I'm going to die. And the second thought that went through my head is, but I can't watch this happen to her and live with myself for the rest of my life. I can't wake up with that memory. I remember trying to calm him down and saying, you know, hey, put down the knife. It's okay, you proved your point. You don't want to do this. Put down the knife.
I remember him talking about the attacker having a blank look in his eyes. He just had one goal in mind, and that was to finish the job that he'd begun.
He went to back her up against a car. So I grabbed his knife and threw my arm around his neck and got him down. And at that point now, it's just a fight for my life between him and I. And the whole time I'm screaming for somebody else to help me. After I got the guy down, there were people that jumped on and people involved in the interaction that probably helped to maybe intimidate him.
The first officer arrived on scene. He observed Adam forcibly holding the suspect down. During the struggle, he placed his foot upon the suspect's wrist and asked his girlfriend to remove the knife from the suspect's hand. She then threw it over a pedestrian bridge. In the course of the attack, the victim sustained a deep laceration to the left side of her neck, which ultimately required 47 stitches to close the wound.
From what I understand, from talking to somebody who had been at the hospital afterwards, she was pretty close to not making it. Unfortunately, was able to pull through. In all honesty, the intensity of that sunk in probably over the next couple months. And even now, there's times when I think about it and I realize that how close I really brushed to death at that point. It was a crazy situation, and it was one I hope to never ever have to relive again. My military training was very, very good in teaching me how to just logically think through something and come to a successful conclusion. In this case, the successful conclusion was, a lady's still alive today.
It's a huge risk. Most people don't want to put themselves out there in harm's way. The suspect was fully intent on killing this woman. And I believe that he wouldn't have stopped unless Adam intervened.
I believe Adam took from this experience the knowledge that he really is one of the few people who is willing to sacrifice his life for others.
That brush with death really brings you back to a perspective of saying, I want to live for other people and I want to live for a cause that's bigger than myself. I decided to run for Congress after a lot of soul searching.
Adam had always had ambitions politically. After that night, having spent a couple years in the service and helping this woman, he realized that his life can have further meaning and he can help the greater society as a whole. And I think it was one of the catalysts that pushed him into public service and into politics in general.
It's always exciting. It gives me a real sense of what the district's made of, and it gives them a sense of who I am and how I'll be as a congressman. I think the characteristics of a hero is just somebody that does the right thing. There's millions of heroes in our nation every day, from police officers to firefighters to teachers. And very importantly, I'm close to the heroes that are overseas and that fight and put the nation's defense on the line every day. And those are the real heroes out there.